Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Maxwell Hot Tips. My name is James Coleman and I'm the Maxwell mentor at the University of Brighton Centre for Design Technology. In today's Maxwell Hot Tip, I'll be looking at how to use object and material IDs to make an impromptu alpha channel. This is the scene that I'll be rendering today. It's one of my first year projects of a Kodak Brownie for the 2012 Olympics. And the style of image that I would like to render this as is called a pack shot image. This means that I want just the product, in this case the camera, on a white background. In order to achieve this, I've got this studio backplane that I've imported from the Maxwell Render library, and a white material applied to it. Over in my camera parameters, I'm also using quite a high f-stop to reduce any depth of field, and in render options, I've got devignetting turned all the way up, so that there's no darkening in the corners of the image. However, if I look at my interactive preview at the moment, I can see that my studio backplane isn't pure white, and it still looks slightly grey, especially compared to the white plastic parts on the camera. Now what I could do if I just wanted to render the shadows under here and composite those into the image is I could enable the shadow option on the material of the backplane. So I could go over to my studio backplane material, double click to open it up, and enable the shadow option. But there is another way to get a very similar result, which is usually easier to work with. What I've done is I've made the material ID of the studio material pure black, RGB 000, but on every other material the material ID is pure white, RGB 255255255. And then what I've done is enable the material ID channel in the render options. And when you render, you'll get something that looks like this. This is the final image, and if you go to the bottom left and hover your mouse over the M icon, the view will change to the material ID channel. And as you can see, the studio backplane is black, RGB 000, but every other material is white, RGB 255255255. And what I've done is made an alpha layer out of all the material IDs, and that means that you can save this MXI and open it up in Photoshop. And here is the MXI in Photoshop, and in my layers window I've got the original render as well as the material ID channel. What I can do is select the material ID channel, select all the image and copy it, then go back to the render, make an alpha layer, then go to my channels, make the mask visible and paste it in. Then make it invisible again and go back to the layers. Then I need to make a copy of my render, so I'm going to drag the render onto the new layers icon, and then I need to delete the mask on the bottom render. Right click, delete. Now what I can do is make a new exposure adjustment layer, lock it to the layer below, and increase the exposure. This is increasing the exposure of the entire image, but because I've got another layer on top with an alpha of the product, it's hiding any adjustment to the exposure of the subject. So what you're seeing is just the exposure of the backplane increasing. And that is one way of getting pure white backgrounds on your packshot images. Using either the object or the material ID channels, set your background to black and everything else to white. And then in Photoshop, open the MXI and apply the extra layer as a mask. Any questions or suggestions, let me know in the comments below, or email me at maxwellrenderbrightontdt@gmail.com, or tweet me at jcoleman_design. Thanks very much, I'll see you again soon.